We like to imagine we're tough. You skip breakfast and you call it fasting. You hike a trail and call it wilderness survival. You watch a bear documentary and suddenly feel connected to your primal ancestors. Maybe you've even fantasized about time travel, being dropped into the Stone Age, living off the land like a rugged survivor. But let's get one thing straight. You wouldn't last a single day. And not because you're weak, but because you're built for a completely different world. Our romantic image of prehistoric life is a lie sold to us by glossy documentaries and pop culture cliches. The real Stone Age wasn't some Instagram-worthy nature retreat. It was a death trap, a relentless, merciless battle for survival fought with stone tools, crude instincts, and inherited wisdom sharpened over hundreds of generations. So, what happens when you drop a modern human, naked, unarmed, and clueless, into that world? Let's find out. Imagine it's dawn, but not your cozy, coffee-scented 21st century dawn. This one arrives 50,000 years ago on a wild African savanna. You wake up with no clothes, no fire, no food. Just your bare skin, your soft feet, and your confused, overstimulated brain. Your first sensation is vulnerability. There's no comforting hum of air conditioning or chirping of smartphone notifications. Instead, there's buzzing insects, distant growls, sharp winds, and a scent of danger that no app can warn you about. You're alone, and the savanna knows it. Let's talk predators. Real ones, not cartoon lions or docile deer. The now extinct Pachycrocuta brevirostris, a short-faced hyena the size of a lion, once roamed these lands. Its jaws were so massive they could wrap around a human head and crush it like a melon. And it wasn't even the only threat. Leopards, wild dogs, snakes, giant vultures, every sound matters. Every bush could be death in disguise. And you're standing there debating if that thing in the distance is a rock or a predator. You haven't even figured out where east is. Meanwhile, your Paleolithic counterparts, who have grown up on this savanna, would have already read the wind, mapped escape routes, smelled animal musk, and decided whether to flee or fight. You're not dumb. You're just domesticated. Okay, let's say you don't die in the first hour. What now? Shelter. You need protection from wind, sun, rain, and cold. But here's the cruel twist. You have no idea how to build anything. Early humans didn't just pick a cave and chill. In frigid climates, they constructed homes with mammoth bones, hide, and packed snow. The 5,000-year-old body of Ötzi the Iceman was found wearing a multi-layered outfit made of goat skin, tree bark fibers, and deer hide. His shoes were insulated with grass. His toolkit had a flint knife and a copper axe. Now look at yourself. You don't even know which plants make decent rope, let alone how to skin a deer or tan leather. You've watched DIY videos on YouTube, sure, but try recreating that knowledge without tools, instructions, or a second chance. Your ancestors learned these skills over millennia. You've got what, a few hours before the temperature drops? Hypothermia doesn't care about your confidence. Ah, yes, fire. The symbol of humanity, the great divider between beast and man. You've seen the movies. A caveman rubs two sticks together, sparks fly, and boom, fire. Total nonsense. Creating fire from scratch is a brutal, unforgiving process. You need specific types of dry wood, friction techniques honed through painful trial and error, and finely processed tinder. Even seasoned survivalists struggle to start a fire without modern help. Let's say you do everything right. You carve a spindle, find a fireboard, get your ember, but you're shivering. Your fingers are numb. You're starving, and you keep hearing rustling behind you. Good luck sustaining a flame when your hands can barely move. Fire wasn't just warmth for early humans, it was armor. It protected them from predators, helped them digest cooked meat, and even altered our evolution by unlocking more calories. No fire, no future. You're not lazy. You're just disconnected from the brutal rituals of survival. So, maybe you give up on building shelter and fire. You think, I'll just find something to eat. Here's the problem. Every wrong guess can kill you. In prehistoric Israel, evidence shows early humans ate over 50 types of plants, each edible, medicinal, or lethal. The seeds of the jaquirity plant, harmless looking and deadly. One bite and it's game over. And don't expect to stumble across berries and rabbits like you're in a video game. Foraging required generational wisdom. Communities passed down knowledge about migration patterns, fruit ripening cycles, and seasonal changes. You don't have that. As for hunting, forget it. Real prehistoric hunting was a team effort. It involved tracking animal migrations, building traps, and corralling entire herds into kill zones. In eastern France, Ice Age tribes burned controlled fires to drive reindeer into ambush areas where dozens of hunters waited with spears. You can't even sharpen a stick without YouTube. We like to think survival is all about brute strength or raw courage, that if you have grit, you'll make it. But grit means nothing when you're making rookie mistakes that get you killed before lunch. Survival in the Paleolithic world wasn't about being the strongest, it was about being the most adapted. Your ancestors didn't have YouTube tutorials or survival manuals. What they had was thousands of years of passed down learning, each generation refining techniques that made the next one a little better equipped to survive. Everything from how to tie a knot with bark fibers to how to interpret the sky for weather changes. None of it was intuitive, it was taught. And that's the crux of it. You don't survive the Stone Age by being smart. You survive by being taught by the smart. Without that inherited knowledge, you're not a warrior, you're a walking liability. In fact, researchers today argue that even with all our modern technology, our best trained soldiers and survivalists would still struggle in a pure Stone Age environment if stripped of all gear and knowledge. We are a species that survives through culture. Remove the culture, and we're just confused apes. This isn't an attack on modernity. It's a reckoning with how far we've drifted from the skills that once defined us. We live in climate-controlled homes, we drive to grocery stores stocked with 50 varieties of yogurt, we have smartphones that can answer any question we think of, except maybe the one that matters most. Could I survive if it all vanished tomorrow? Comfort comes with a cost, and that cost is resilience. We've outsourced so much of our survival to technology that we've forgotten what we once were. And sure, that's progress. Nobody's asking to trade penicillin for pine bark tea, but we should understand that in making life easier, we've also made ourselves more fragile. Our ancestors' minds were sharpened by hardship. Yours is dulled by convenience. You don't have to feel guilty about that, but you should be honest with yourself. You're not a natural survivor. You're the result of an unprecedented support system that allows you to feel self-sufficient while being completely dependent on systems you barely understand. And that's fine, as long as those systems don't fail. Let's flip the narrative for a second. You, the modern human, are not worthless. Far from it. Your soft hands, your screen-tired eyes, your coffee addiction, those are signs of a species that has won. You were the culmination of a 2-million-year struggle to make life less brutal. You don't need to know how to kill a mammoth because someone 1,500 generations ago figured out how to domesticate cattle. You don't need to start a fire with sticks because someone cracked the code of combustion and passed it down through a civilization that eventually gave you a gas stove. Your weakness is your strength because it means you live in a world where brute survival is no longer your full-time job. Your ancestors didn't fight saber-toothed cats so you could go back and try to do it again. They did it so you wouldn't have to. That's the ultimate flex. Still think you'd last a few days in their world? Let's review what's working against you. No inherited knowledge. You don't know how to find food, track animals, build shelter, or even tell time without a watch. No physical conditioning. You're not used to walking 10 to 15 miles a day barefoot, carrying meat or firewood over uneven terrain. No mental preparedness. You've been trained to avoid discomfort. Paleolithic life was nothing but discomfort. No immunity. Ancient pathogens, parasites, and bacteria would wreck your body. Your immune system isn't battle-hardened, it's insulated. No community. Survival was a group project. Alone, you're just meat. Now, what's working for you? You've got a powerful brain, but it's never been tested under that kind of pressure. You're clever, yes, but clever doesn't mean capable. It takes decades of experience to make someone capable in that world. You don't have decades. You don't even have days. You wouldn't just die. You'd panic, flail, make poor decisions, and die badly. Not because you're stupid, but because you're modern. Here's another uncomfortable truth. The Stone Age wasn't noble, or spiritual, or more connected to nature. That's modern romanticism. It was brutal, a constant state of near death. Babies died young. Injuries meant lifelong suffering. Life expectancy was short, and resources were uncertain. The environment didn't reward introspection or kindness. It rewarded efficiency, awareness, adaptability. If you showed weakness, nature didn't pity you, it devoured you. Sure, there were moments of beauty, sunrises over mountain peaks, the warmth of a fire, laughter under the stars. But every one of those moments was earned, paid for in blood, sweat, and silence. You fantasize about escaping the modern world? That world was trying to kill you every second, and your ancestors won anyway. You shouldn't admire early humans because they were primitive. You should admire them because they were resilient, innovative, and absurdly brave. They crossed glaciers with nothing but animal skins. They mapped migrations without paper. They lived in harmony and conflict with nature, creating myths, tools, and languages that evolved into every civilization we've ever built. The cave paintings at Chauvet aren't art, they're survival guides. The burial sites from the Upper Paleolithic show ritual and compassion. The tools they left behind tell us that they didn't just endure, they adapted, designed, invented. That's why you're here. Not because you're special, but because they were. So, could you survive the Stone Age? Probably not. But here's the better question. Why would you want to? We don't honor our ancestors by imitating their suffering. We honor them by building on their triumphs, by recognizing that every comfort we enjoy was bought with someone else's pain. You're here because they didn't give up. So the next time your phone dies and you feel a panic attack coming on, the next time you can't find Wi-Fi and feel like you're off the grid, the next time you burn toast and think you're starving, take a breath, look around, and remember this. You are the child of fire makers, the heir of mammoth hunters, the descendant of humans who looked at an unforgiving world and said, no, we're going to win this. You don't have to prove you could survive their world. They survived it so you wouldn't have to. And that is the greatest legacy of all.